but welcome. We've got tons of great speakers today. We're going to start off with ChannelFireball President and CEO, Jon Saso, but we also have our Marketing Director, Dennis Straniak. And then we've got Legend Story Studios, got James White. If you were at our first event, you know how great that can be. Just a Q&A, but just in time for the Monarch. We're right in between Monarch First Edition release and the Monarch Unlimited release. So questions there. And then the Pokemon Company, Brian Garside back from Managed Comics. I think their Shopify app is live or just about to be live. So we'll get some great information if you're into comic books or want to get into comic books from Brian. And we have MetaZoo. We have Michael from MetaZoo, the founder. It's just a hot game. The Kickstarter came out. First edition's due out this summer. So tons of great stuff to kind of soak up at LGS C2. I'm here, Ben. We built this backdrop. For those of you who don't know, we were doing box breaks here at ChannelFireball. I'm in the ChannelFireball Game Center right now. We built this amazing backdrop to do box breaks in, and we haven't had a chance to properly utilize it. So this is actually the first time we're using it. I was very excited, because it's rough. And I know many of us have felt this frustration lately when we're building projects, and just because of the state of the world, we don't get to, maybe we almost finish them, or we just get to finishing them, and then we can't quite put them into action. And that's what this set right now is. So I'm just excited to be here, to be able to use it, because I was here for design. I was here when it was being built. And this is actually the first time I've seen and got to experience the finished product, which I really, really like. Good morning, Jon. How are you doing? You're still muted, dude.
I'm doing good. How you doing, Mosh? Yeah, I like the open sign there. It looks good.
Yeah. We got Dark Still Humphrey in the background. I'm doing, nice. I'll be, it's funny because everyone's always like, how are you doing? That's just a perfunctory greeting. Like, how are you doing? I'm fine. You know what? I'm not fine. I was trying to get some coffee, and the coffee through Uber Eats, and they have a farmer's market outside, and they couldn't deliver the coffee. And I told the guy, I was like, hey, I've got this live event. Just cancel the order. I'm really sorry. It's not going to affect my rating of you. Have a great day, but I got to run inside. So I'm on the H2O plan now. No coffee.
It may affect the quality of LGS C2 though. I don't know. We need to get
I think it already is. Already is. So Jon, I was talking to everybody about all the great stuff we have coming up. People are coming in and just talking about, the state of the world. And it's weird because we've been through so much uncertainty, and now we've got a little bit of certainty. And it's one of those things where uncertainty was scary, and then we kind of adjusted to that. Now a little bit of certainty starts to become a little bit of a scary thing, but we'll talk more about that, I know, when you get going.
Oh yeah. No, it's been absolutely a unique year for all of us here in the industry, and I mean, in the world, right? I mean, no one could have predicted what has been going on. And I mean, there's a lot of hope right now that things are moving back to normal. I think definitely in the US, we're starting to feel that, or hope to believe that things are moving in the right direction, which they are. And I think that, hopefully, by the end of the year, things are more open and better, and getting back to kind of what we knew as normal beforehand.
Definitely. And it's going to be tough. And the nice thing about events like LGSC, and all these Facebook, if you're not in it, there's so many resources on Facebook, by the way, for you to join. If there's so many retailer groups, and some of them are very local, like retailers in your area. And we talked about this last time at LGSC. It's not a zero-sum game. There's plenty of customers and plenty of dollar dues out there for everyone to do well. So working together and helping each other is super important. We just sent out, we had a CS error in I think it was for box breaks, and we got this random reply where great customer interaction, where the customer got it, understood it, and didn't want to be a problem, and just kind of threw in there, a rising tide raises all boats. And that's, I know it's an old chestnut, but it's so important. I think in the retail world, where we tend to think like, my customer can't be your customer, there's only so many customers, and I guess that part's true, but there's enough that we can all prosper. And that's why I love events like LGSC too. I love putting these things together. I love being part of them, because it's our opportunity to give back all the knowledge we have, to listen to any other knowledge that our peers have, that they deliver to us, and then get information from game manufacturers. And game manufacturers, they're just another part of the environment, and they've gone through everything we have too. They've experienced their own, aftershocks with COVID and going through it. And it's easy to forget that, because when we're all struggling, we see our own perspective. We don't quite grab onto like, wait a minute, they're struggling over there too. So it's just a good reminder, just putting it out there. So, all right. ChannelFireball President and CEO, Jon Saso, in the house. You ready to kick us off, Jon?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get started.
Let's do it. All right. LGS C2 is a go.
All right. Welcome, everybody. My name is Jon Saso. I'm the president and CEO of ChannelFireball. President of CFB Group. I'm just used to saying that. Mashi's trained me well in using my full title. But yeah, so I guess congratulations to everyone who's here or watching on navigating one of the most challenging and unpredictable 12-month spans that probably any of us are going to experience in our business careers. This has been, obviously, as we said, just an unpredictable, unprecedented situation for the world. And many of us, operating physical retail locations, have not been able to do so to, what we would like to over the past year because of these restrictions and just the reality of the world. I've talked to a lot of retailers, and obviously being a retailer ourselves, we've been able or have had the very similar challenges as of everyone else watching here. But I guess what I've found is that there's some common themes around like the stores and retailers that have really excelled and grown through this time. I think the first one really is just like embracing and accepting that there is a lot of uncertainty and unpredictability right now in the world. Like there always is that in business, and generally, like the more comfortable you can be in uncertainty and in situations that aren't completely predictable, the more comfortable you can be in those situations, the more successful you're going to be. And I think it just really magnified that over the past year. The people that saw this as like, okay, things are different, I'm going to accept it. But what can I do with that? And really embrace it. Don't be a victim of the situation. Be like the hero, like try to push through it and see what you can make of it. I think the people that have that mindset, I've really seen being successful. On top of that, looking for opportunities that maybe didn't make sense before in your current business model, but now are like, we need to try it out of necessity, or, just it's something that's working for someone else, so I'm going to try it. I mean, it's like being open-minded to things that, previously, maybe you would never try, but out of this past year, you've done it because you needed to. And I think, very, very importantly in business in general, and just, during this time especially, is like learning from these experiences. I think many of us have had 5 or 10 years worth of learning experiences over the past 12 months. The number of different situations we've had to face as retailers has just been so like jam-packed into a small period of time that there have been a ton of learning experiences, even though you maybe don't realize it as you're going. Looking back on it, like, whoa, okay, I tried that, it didn't work, or I tried that and it did, and I want to do more of that. And so like being aware of that, I think is very, very important. And then most importantly, in any of this, when you're running a business that needs to be flexible, needs to be agile, it's making decisions, right? Because it's very, very easy to get stuck in, there's a global pandemic going on and my business is struggling. Okay, that's true, but like, what am I going to do about it? And there are all these opportunities, and then making a decision and going with it. And I mean, you need to do that, because otherwise you get stuck. But at the same time, you make a decision, you move towards it, but you're still open-minded, you're still learning. So if that decision doesn't work, you're ready to go on to the next one. And I think all of us as retailers, we've experienced that to some effect, this past year. And I think coming out of this, or starting the transition to being able to open our stores again in the way they were before, or starting to do things in a more normal fashion as we hopefully come out of this pandemic, I think it's very important to just be like realizing that, and taking these lessons into this new world, like this new chapter of our business careers. For us at ChannelFireball, obviously one of the biggest examples of uncertainty that we've been dealing with is we've merged with Binder POS. We're starting all these new initiatives, the biggest one being the launch of the ChannelFireball Marketplace, being something that we've never launched a marketplace before, but we've been a part of many marketplaces and have, been on the customer side of the marketplace, or marketplace, or software provider, all of that. So I mean, this is a new world for us. We're learning a ton. We're very thankful to have a great partner in Binder POS and the great team of people there to navigate this through. But again, it's very uncertain for us, and we're learning this process. And one of the things that I guess I've always experienced, I think many of us on our team have experienced in this being like on the other side of the table is that we would much prefer having just honest, transparent information than getting told what we want to hear. And yesterday we announced that the marketplace hit a speed bump, and I think I'll kind of go into that a bit. But it's like we hit the speed bump with the credit card processor that we were going to use. We've been working down the path of this credit card processor. They seemed like they were going to be a great solution. Here in the past month or so, it came to light that they weren't going to be able to offer the standard of service that we really felt was vital to running a marketplace for the LGS community. And we made the very difficult decision to make a change there. And that I fully believe that it's the right decision. I mean, I'm very happy. I'm much more comfortable with the new path that we're going down. But the result of it is it's going to delay the marketplace launch out of Q2. And we announced Q2 as the marketplace launch at LGS Con II. And at the time we made that, we were committed to it, and everyone felt very comfortable with that launch date. We unpredictable, uncertain situation occurred where things did not go quite as planned, and we're having to pivot. And now the marketplace is delayed outside of Q2. And the other part of it that is, I guess, just focusing on being transparent and being honest with everyone, because I never, as a business owner, like to hear information just because I like to hear it and it'll make me quiet. I'd rather just be open and transparent. Our development team right now is working on scoping out the amount of time it's going to take to build out the new credit card processor. And they're going to have the new timeline for us relatively soon, but we don't have a date that we can share with you today. And as much as we all would love to share a date with everyone saying, hey, this is when the marketplace is launching, I just feel it would be disingenuous for us to do so without complete information.
I think one of the key things here in terms of total transparency, because John and I are in the same meetings, we don't have a date we're not sharing. We actually do not have a date. We're very, very cautious. We want to make sure that we empower our team around us to do things the right way and not rush to different goals that get put on them, and that pressure that can happen when we want to make things happen on the business end. But there's creative, there's development, there's work that has to happen on the back end, and we need to facilitate that. And that's part of, so I want to recap some of what you've talked about here, Jon, because I think it's really, really important. Embrace unpredictability. And that's what this is a great example of embracing unpredictability. We have a deadline. We want to hit it. We're not going to hit it. What do? You can force that square peg into a round hole, or you can embrace it and say, I've got to run with this. This is where we're at. This wasn't meant to happen. We didn't predict it. It's unpredictable. So how are we going to deal with it? And the second part of what you said, which I think was really important, don't be a victim, be the hero. What happens when we have unpredictable good things? Hey, those are great. We have no problem rolling with those, right? So let's just put those in their own category. I think we're all well-versed in coming up lucky and just maximizing that whenever we can. But it's the speed bumps that are really, really important. And what I really get from don't be the victim, be the hero is when we hit these speed bumps, we can sit there and say, oh, that happened. There's a pandemic. That happened. I got allocated. That happened. Okay, man, this last set of Magic, Flesh and Blood, Pokemon, MetaZoo, whatever game it is, it sucks and it didn't do well for me, and that happened. And that is being the victim. Even when there are things we can't control about our situations, global pandemic, allocation, printing shortages because of the global pandemic, credit card processors don't work. When we step back and ask ourselves, what lessons did we learn? I think that changes everything from being the victim to being the hero, to saying, this isn't just about something that happened to me. This is about something that happened. And now I'm going to data mine it. Now I'm going to take something out of it. I'm going to learn something about what I requested. Maybe I should have gone higher with my allocation. How do I deal with bad sets? I diversify into all these other games, so that even if Magic's bad, Flesh and Blood is good, or if Magic and Flesh and Blood are a little bit weak, guess what? That Pokemon release, amazing. That's going to make it. So these are all, we talked about these last time at LGS Con II, but the questions we ask, the lessons we learn from every speed bump are how we turn those negative situations into opportunities, how we take control of them and be proactive, right? Rather than being reactive and just say, oh, that happened to me. When we ask those questions and say, what do I take away from this? In this case, it's we have, oh my gosh, we have a delay. We have a live event. What are we going to do? We're going to be transparent. We're going to embrace it. We're going to be transparent. And we have a great gift here because, Saso grew up in this industry. And one of the other things you said right at the start, Jon, which I think is so important for everybody, is you put on that retail hat and you say, I hate it when I get this. I want that, this is the information I would want back in the Superstars, in that little Superstar store, that little 600 square foot Superstar store, or, on Ryder Street in basically a modified warehouse that was the Superstars warehouse. And then originally the Channel Fireball Game Center, and all those times in between as a retailer. What do I want to hear? I want to hear the truth. What do I want to know? I want to know, what's honestly happening. And I think that those are all just important benchmarks and important things we can do at different times. We're retailers sometimes, and most of us, and I'll speak for myself here, are customers as well. We're gamers. Sometimes we have to put on that gamer hat. What does our customer want to hear? Sometimes we put on that retail hat. What do our peers want to hear? Sometimes we have that retail hat and we say, what do our distributors want to hear? What do the manufacturers want to hear? All these different things we play, all these different ways we can engage with speed bumps and with lucky pennies. I mean, I don't want to just throw it all out, are really, really important for us to take control of different situations, be proactive about them, and always encounter them with that kind of like beginner's mindset. What am I learning here? What am I taking away?
Yeah. That's definitely the key. And I think just like with communication, given our experience being on the other side of the table, dealing with timelines of launches and things like that, and living through all of that, I think it's very clear to us that like transparent communication is the way to go, and why it's such a vital part of our business culture here, and why we want to be that with all the local game stores out there. Is like, we are your partner in this, and we are building this for you. And if there's a bit of a setback like we're seeing now, we want to be transparent. I don't want to spin it or make it look better than it is. I want it to be real. And I don't even want to predict what the timeline could be. We trust our development team completely. We have an incredible group of people there working really hard on this marketplace. And I mean, no one is more eager for this marketplace to launch than our team here, right? I mean, I'm just completely confident in their ability to overcome the speed bump and deliver just a tremendous marketplace for the LGS community. And I'm very excited about all of this. And obviously, we will share the new timeline and all that information with you as soon as we have it. We'll email it out. We'll put it in the Facebook group, and everyone will know. Like, we'll be very clear. We can't wait to share that information with you. Trust me. So while this obviously is not the news we want to share, we were hoping to share the actual launch date of the marketplace during LGS C2, like the hard launch date. But we're not able to do that, and that's what it is. But it's adding a bit more uncertainty to an already uncertain time. But I think it also presents, an opportunity. It will present an opportunity for you to sell your products through a new channel, and we're very excited about bringing you that option to sell your products through the Channel Fireball marketplace, and keep more of the money for yourself, like with a more sustainable, fee structure and everything else there. I think it's really going to be a product that's going to be, it's going to help your business, and we're excited to have you a part of it with us. So going back to opportunities and just kind of what we've seen over the last, Mashi over there, looks like a DJ.
I'm in a lounge now. Yeah, we have California. For those who don't know, California has certain standards for retail stores, and the lights are on an auto. Like, if I'm not moving, and I don't think I can move enough, the lights just go out. So,
yeah.
So we'll keep it. Right, so, welcome to LGSC After Dark.
Yeah. So over the past year, with opportunities coming up, and the stores that I've seen really thrive through this have been open to different opportunities. And I mean, some of the biggest ones or categories of things we could do is, looking at what are the products that we sell or have historically sold. Channel Fireball obviously has been very, very Magic centric since launch, right? For the last decade, it's been all Magic all the time, and Magic singles specifically, right, has been a huge part of our business. When the pandemic hit, when large organized play was no longer a possibility, when we couldn't have tournaments in our store, single cards became much, much more difficult to source. So we had to look like, okay, well, we need to be looking at other product lines. And I've seen a lot of other people in the industry do the same. And they look to existing brands. Like Pokemon obviously has been just gone through a huge boom over this past year. And many of us didn't focus on selling Pokemon as much because we were selling the other games that we were, accustomed to selling. But the ones that have really leaned into that and decided I'm going to expand my product lines, I think have found a lot of success. Existing product lines like comic books or pop figures or board games, doing things that have existed and been these parallel product lines, but not maybe our primary. I think a lot of stores have found success in expanding into that. And we have Brian from Managed Comics talking about comic books later today, so that's gonna be great. Obviously embracing new and innovative games that have come out, Flesh and Blood being the primary, especially for us that have been large Magic retailers. I think we've seen a lot of crossover from Magic players getting really interested in Flesh and Blood, and that game just totally taking off. And I think those that have embraced that game and really tried to build that community in their store have found a lot of success with it. And coming up, we have James White obviously talking about that. I mean, he gave a tremendous presentation last time at LGSC. I think he's doing a Q&A with us, today. I'm really excited about that. And also, I mean, they just announced their new organized play structure. So now this opportunity of an expanded product line has expanded into an opportunity for in-store organized play. And I think, that's something to really look at, where it's like, wow, okay, not only do we have Magic tournaments to play, now we have, this other community of players that are looking to play Flesh and Blood events, and a publisher really looking to back organized play. So that's super exciting. And I don't think these opportunities are going to slow down. I mean, a great example of that is MetaZoo, this game that kickstarted just a few months ago. We have Michael, the founder and designer of MetaZoo, going to be talking with us today. But I mean, this is a game that just kind of came out of nowhere. It's created a big buzz already around the Kickstarter and the secondary market, and people really looking forward to this first edition release. And we're actually excited. Very, very shortly, I think in the next couple of weeks, we'll be announcing a special offering for retailers that are on the Binder POS platform to actually access some of that first edition MetaZoo product. So if you're a Binder POS client, you'll be receiving an email in the next couple of weeks with an exclusive offering for first edition products. So we're really excited about that. Thank you, Michael, for that opportunity to bring that to our community here. And that will be coming right around the corner. I guess a couple other real quick things is expanding sales channels. A lot of retailers didn't sell online at all before the pandemic. Now maybe the majority of your sales are selling online. If you did sell online, but only through one sales channel, maybe now you're selling through 2 or 3, because we all had to figure out how do we balance, this challenging situation and keep our business going. And some of that is just changing how we did it. And then I think the next thing really is we've had to do this throughout, but spending more time focusing on what the business should look like, right? Like what are the things that, if we could start from scratch, because I think a lot of us are kind of in that mindset now, like we start from scratch, it's a fresh start. What should the business really look like? What are the things we want to be focusing on? What products do we want to be selling? Where do we want to be selling them? How do we want to be selling them? What organized play do we want to be offering? Like all of these are questions we can now answer and kind of reset our business the way that we want it to be. And because it's been such a challenging year this past year for a lot of us, it's very easy to just be focused on running the business today and just being in reactive mode. And I mean, I'm guilty of this all the time, right? Like where it's like, here's the thing, focus on it, get it done. And it's just reacting to whatever's coming up. But it's super important for all business owners in any business, but especially I think in our industry, to really be looking at what is the business I want to be building, and like assigning some time for yourself to be really creating that vision of what the business is that you want a year or 2, 3 years from now, and then put time into building that business. Like you can't take your eye off the business you have now because you won't be able to pay the bills. So you got to keep the business you have now going, but start to assign some time to that business that you're building towards. And I think that for me, that has been one of the things that's really helped me in business in general, is to be forward thinking, setting goals, setting a vision, and working towards that. And that's just like the one piece of advice I think I could give. It's like schedule time for your future business. That's an important piece right now. So let's see.
John,
Yeah.
I actually got, we had a few questions come
Okay,
in.
perfect.
I think it'd be awesome to get your take on here. You mentioned, of course, Flesh and Blood, and you've mentioned MetaZoo. So I think this is a great question. With the explosion of card games, do you think it's more important for a game to be playable or collectible?
I mean, I think during this time period, the past year, where in-store play or live play has been challenging, the fact that these games have a collectible aspect to it has been really, really helpful. But I think the ones that will have the longevity are the games that people are actually playing. There's been just an increase in popularity of collectibles in general, sports cards, pop figures, comics, everything. During this pandemic, people want these tangible goods that bring them back to their childhood or whatever it is. So I think the collectible aspect has been very important in the short term. I think long term, the playability and really the community, I think, is the most important part, right? Where the community around these games, whether it be collecting or playing, but everyone wants to be a part of it. And I think that's what we found with the large events is if you have a really strong community and they're all coming together to celebrate the game they love, whether they're playing it, collecting it, judging it, whatever it is, it's like that's what you really want. So, but yeah, I think playability is gonna be the long term.
So kind of in a similar vein, you maybe you've already answered this. Do you think the new attention on card games as a commodity is a bubble, or is it sustainable?
It's really tough to say on that. I mean, there's so much in flux with cryptocurrency, stock market, all of these outside things that are happening that are causing, I think, having some impact on the value of these items. And if those things start to change, then you never know how that's going to affect the collectability market. I think that we've been in this a long time, and we've seen Black Lotus starting at $50, and now it's up to, I don't even know what unlimited Black Lotus is, $15,000, something like that, but 20,000. These cards and these collectibles have held value over time, and historically have really only gone up. There have been times when they go up too fast and they have to correct, or they go up too fast and they don't really sell at that rate. But I think with these games that are established, and the games that are have this community around them, I think it would take a lot for like the bubble to burst. I think, sure, we've seen this unprecedented growth over the past year of collectibles. Will there be a bit of a correction at some point? I'm sure there will, and I think we're seeing it a little bit with Pokemon and sports cards right now. But is there a huge fan base and community really supporting these products? Yeah. And so I don't think there's a bubble that's going to burst. It's going to like take down the industry. I think there may be a small correction from, growth that was just out of this world, like unprecedented.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a tough thing because I've heard this question a lot about the bubble bursting in collectibles, the bubble bursting in Magic, I mean, Flesh and Blood is a huge, is the bubble going to burst there? And I think it's a way, bubbles bursting is a matter of degree. The way you put it, I think, is perfect. Is the market going to get wiped out? No, I don't think so. Are things going to could things, slow down in their value, short term, midterm? Sure. I mean, Monarch, the newest Flesh and Blood set drops, and there's like, I mean, I don't even know what the library is at right now. $4,000, $5,000 for a brand new set with a brand new card. And Crucible, which is their last set for Flesh and Blood, there's like Shiana, there's all these like multi-$1,000 cards. And it took Magic, and of course, nothing's in a vacuum, right? Flesh and Blood, collectible card games, anything released now, it benefits from the longevity of games like Magic and Pokemon. There's that familiarity, right? It's when I'm trying to describe things, I'll say something like, well, it's kind of like Magic. Don't know Magic? It's kind of like Pokemon. Oh, Pokemon. Great. You make those comparisons, and there's a reason for that. So there's that inborn familiarity. So I agree with you. One of the first things you said, John, when we went into lockdown is there is a desire for wealth storage and non-traditional means. And we're seeing that in the collectible market. You mentioned crypto, obviously that's the big headliner, but I don't think, even when things quote unquote go back to normal, you don't just U-turn, things don't just, when things like this are discovered, these ways to store wealth or these ways to collect different things, they don't just drop immediately. We retain some of that as we move forward. So I think that's super important.
And also, I mean, I think the one big thing about this whole thing is like, everyone feels like, oh, it's this bubble, it can't be sustained. Like all of this growth is happening during a time when people aren't actually able to play the game like as widely as they would be, right? So I mean, Flesh and Blood's a great example. Like, and I've been very, very positive, bullish about Flesh and Blood. I think it's a great product. I think James and his team are really good. They have the right mindset for creating a game that's going to last for a long time. And people have not had the opportunity to play the game nearly as much as they will over the next year. And I mean, the game is great. And so it's like being able to take all the hype and excitement around Flesh and Blood and then actually get people playing it in stores and playing it in large events. I mean, I think that's only going to take it to the next level, to be honest. And I think the same is true with Magic. I think the same is true with all the games in this industry, where it's like, as people get back to be able to play and trade cards again, I don't see how that is going to make the bubble burst. I think it could only be the opposite. I just think people are very excited.
How do you feel about the cadence that LSS has chosen for releasing their product, right? So there's a clear narrative here of first edition is for collectors, unlimited is for players, right? Because first edition comes out and look, I think most people know this, but Saso and I were Magic players, right? We grew up playing Magic, and you didn't get reprint sets until once a year at the end of the year, and maybe those cards got reprinted and maybe they didn't, you didn't know. LSS has taken a totally different tack. You have first edition, there's crazy value, in those boxes. There's like I said, a $4,000 to $5,000 card in there. But a few weeks later, right, we're already in the area of the unlimited version of that set coming out. So it feels like what LSS has done is like, we're going to do the first edition set for collectors, and then we're going to do unlimited for players. Where's your head at with that?
I mean, I like it. I mean, I was always a fan of, Pokemon way back when they had the first edition release and they didn't have the unlimited release. I thought that was just a great thing, because while this is a collectible card game, it's also the collectible is still part of it, right? I mean, obviously for a game to succeed, people need to be able to have the cards to play the game. And I mean, I think during COVID, there have been challenges with all the manufacturers of being able to print enough product and get it out to the stores as quickly as they'd like to. And I mean, Flesh and Blood's dealt with that just as Pokemon, Magic, everybody has dealt with it. So I think in an ideal situation where, first edition's coming out and a few weeks later Unlimited comes out, like what's happened with Monarch, I think that's great. I mean, I think it's perfect. The people that want to collect, the people that want to have the cards first, they get the first edition product, and then they have something to collect long-term. And we've seen long-term, there's a lot of demand for the first edition of Flesh and Blood and Pokemon. But I mean, it is very important that the Unlimited gets out to market to support, players playing the game. And just having enough cards out there, for everyone to enjoy the game and be introduced to it.
So you've mentioned play here a bit, and we have another question. This is pretty broad, so you can kind of pick. You can pick your shot here. What are your thoughts on the future of organized play for Magic? Of course, OP comes back in store end of this month, like next week, I think May 28th, if it's allowed in your jurisdiction. Wizards has given the carte blanche if it's okay and it's safe and your locale allows it. OP is back. Professional OP is a little bit more murky. We don't need to dive into that necessarily. But what are your thoughts on the future of organized play for Magic?
I mean, there are so many people that love Magic and play Magic and have played Magic on Arena during this time, or have played just in smaller groups because of the reality of the world. I think there's a huge demand for large scale Magic events to come back. We get messaged every day at least. I mean, like, when's Magic Fest coming back? Are you guys going to be running events soon? And what's all that? And like, we can't wait to get back out there. And I mean, I think the demand for that is higher now than it's probably ever been because people are so eager to get back out there and play. I think before the pandemic, we were starting to see a bit of a shift in organized play from being like, competitive Magic being like the one path forward to it becoming more of a, casual game with Commander or just like Friday Night Magic, people getting together and playing standard, but not looking to qualify for the Pro Tour and go out there and, be the world champion, which is different than what Magic has been, I think, definitely in the past. Like when we were coming up playing Magic, it was all about like getting on the Pro Tour. Right? Oh yeah. But I think as the community's expanded, there are, more people playing Magic, playing Commander or playing more casual formats. And we started to see that with Magic Fest at the end where, people are coming to the event, not playing in any scheduled tournament, just coming to hang out and play games with people and meet new people in the community, which I think is great. I think they're all important things. All that being said, if this question is more about competitive play, I think it's going to be fine. I mean, I think that, obviously there was the big announcement a week and a half ago about the MPL and all that, and people were getting a little worried about it. But I mean, Magic competitive play is something that has been around for 25 years. And I mean, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I think, Wizards of the Coast, for the most part here, like knows what they're doing, and they're going to create a program that is what the players want. And, so we'll see what that is. And, we'll see what, ends up coming after the next chapter after the MPL Rivals chapter of Magic Organized Play, see what the next chapter looks like. But yeah, I don't know. I always have faith in the community. I have faith in the organizers that put on these events, and I have faith in WotC to put something out there that the players really want. So I feel pretty good about it. And I mean, I think obviously stores are going to do tremendously well with organized play, because I mean that the demand again for people to come back and play these games that they haven't been able to play the last year, I think is just higher than ever. So I think it's
agreed. The appetite is there, right? The appetite is there, and everyone, here, if you have a brick and mortar and you're able to safely open, that's going to be a boon for everybody. I think people are just sick of ordering things online at a certain point, like just going and buying packs and opening packs and doing that. I think is going to be something that we see a lot of our customers want to do. And if we can safely do it, let's do it. Okay. A few other questions about the marketplace. Does this delay change any other aspects of the marketplace?
I don't think it really does. I mean, I obviously leave it to the developers, because they're the ones that understand the full picture of what goes into building this. And I am not a software developer myself, so I don't even want to pretend to talk to it. But I mean, from the information I've gotten from them thus far, this is a specific part of the design that needs to, or the development that needs to be changed. And the other work that has been done on, features and everything else doesn't impact all of that. I'm sure it impacts some, but I don't think that it's going to have a tremendous impact on the rest of the marketplace.
No, the only impact it has, truthfully, is there's a little more time to maybe add some polish to different areas. So it's only kind of an impact upwards, no impact downwards. I know that from the meetings I've been in. So yeah, no other impacts other than the delay. We get these a lot, so I think it's just good to get an opportunity to clarify. Is the ChannelFireball marketplace only for binder POS customers?
No. The marketplace is open to all retailers. You need to have an official business. We're not allowing peer-to-peer trading on there, but if you are an official business, you are able to list on the marketplace. We've been reaching out to stores that aren't on binder POS, because there's a way to basically list your items directly on the marketplace. Some of the larger stores we're working on some integrations with, but that's something that could be down the line. But yeah, I mean, we're trying to make it as easy to list your products on the marketplace as possible. Obviously, if you're on binder POS, it's a flip of a switch. You're working on getting integrated with any of the other platforms out there that people use to manage their inventory and their point of sale. So that's definitely our goal, is to make it as easy as possible for anyone to list their items on the CFB marketplace, whether you're on binder POS or not.
Oh, we got some other ones coming in. I'm gonna pivot you back here. And you touched on this a bit, but I'm 100% unfamiliar with binder POS ChannelFireball. With the delay on the marketplace, what does a store need to do to be a member? What does a store need to be a member of in hopes of taking advantage of the MetaZoo offer?
So yeah, that's going to be an offering that's exclusive to binder POS clients. So I guess step one is book a demo with Tyler and check out what binder POS is and see if it's a good solution for you. And if it is, you can sign up for the service. I think Masha, you have the information about that. But yeah, I mean, it's basically book a demo, check it out. If you like it, sign up. And yeah, we'll be, this is the first of many offerings from binder POS to binder POS clients. And yeah, so I think you definitely want to be a part of it.
Yeah, and I'll ask that this get posted here. I've got the demo link for Tyler. Maybe I can do it. You want to book a demo with Tyler, and we're gonna juice the pot, as it were. If it's your first time booking a demo with Tyler, you complete the demo. Let him know, hey, I was at LGS C2 and I heard about this promotion. If you book a demo for the first time, complete the demo, we will send you a box of Monarch Unlimited. That's the newest Flesh and Blood set, Monarch Unlimited. gratis. It's on us. We want to get you in there. Check out Binder POS. It's a solution we use. So it's literally what we use at channelfireball.com. But check that out. And everyone kind of in North America on Binder POS will have an opportunity. They'll receive an email about the MetaZoo offer. So you want to get onboarded and be part of that and be in North America, and you can join in. Oh, wow. Look at this. This is a question. This question comes from our friend Isaac Egan in Australia. Hey, Isaac, how are you doing? Play space versus retail space in a brick and mortar game store. Thoughts on percent split between the two? You've hit on one, John. I'll tell you this. Back in the day, there were all these Excel spreadsheets and John was measuring everything out. And this is the play space and this is the retail space. So, I mean, I'm glad that we don't have another hour for John to screen share an Excel spreadsheet and go through this with you all. Here are your 6-footers, everything. But John, what is your philosophy there? What are your thoughts there? Percent split between the two?
I think this is a good example of something where we're in a new world coming out of COVID. And like that, I believe changes a lot of what we need to do to dedicate play space for play space versus retail space. We're looking at this now ourselves as like, okay, what is the correct amount of play space that we need, in a new store? And I think that the demand is going to be really high, as we've said. So I think that, and especially if your model is buying and selling single cards, which, is definitely the spot which is generally most lucrative in our industry, I think having a large amount of play space in order to have a large amount of players in your store is going to help you acquire more cards from those players. So that has always been our philosophy. And I think most of our stores for the last decade have had 75% or more of the space is dedicated to gameplay. I think as high as like maybe 85% in a couple of our locations. So we are always very, very much focused on building the community in our store and, offering enough space for as many people to come play within reason, but like plenty of space for everyone to come play in these events. So I am much more on the side of offering a large amount of play space, 60 to 75% of your space to play space, and then maximizing your retail space in an efficient way so you can generate the most sales out of the remainder space in your store.
I think one of the keys there, and one of the things, this is just a learning we had, years and years ago. So I apologize. This is apparent to everybody here because I think it's something we figured out back in Ryder Street, which would be 2008, 2009 for us is, if you're going to have play space, you need to find another way to engage with your customer and convert, right? They only need to buy the cards once. They only want to buy packs once. But if they're there playing, they do need things like water, snacks, candy, chips, and we had a Costco down the block, and it started to be a thing where, once a week we go to Costco to restock, and all of a sudden it's twice a week we're going to Costco to restock. And it's just a very, very important thing. And I know I took a peek at Dennis's presentation, and this is part of really kind of analyzing your customer's behavior, creating those personas and saying, what do they want? What do they need? Well, guess what? If they're sitting in your game store for 6 hours, playing Magic, playing D&D, playing Flesh and Blood, Pokemon, whatever it is, they're going to want soda or water or snacks, and you can provide those. They don't need to leave. You get that captive audience. So I think it's one of the lessons we learned early on that really, really helped us, and
a lot of the stores doing it at a very high level. Card Kingdom and Cafe Box and, so many stores that are setting up.
Shout out to Coral Sword. Coral Sword in
Houston, Texas, with David and Hunter. But yeah, basically making, the fact that you have an audience in your store hanging out for hours on end, make an opportunity to make more money off of the people, being in your store for that long.
We have another question that was in the chat here. How many locations does CFB have?
So currently we have one retail store in Santa Clara. We've had a retail.
I'm saying hi from the retail store in Santa Clara.
Okay, yeah, Mashi's there right now. So unfortunately, that store has been shut down pretty much the entire time during COVID. Restrictions in the area have been such that we can't really operate the business the way it has operated historically. But yeah, we've just had the one location. We've had a store in the Northern California Bay Area for about 27 years now, and we moved around a bit throughout the years. But yeah, that's been our one location for retail.
I don't want to cause confusion. I keep referencing these other spaces. Those are the spaces that superstars, and then ChannelFireball moved around to Ryder Street was our old location. Coleman was the location after that. Anyway, Ryder, 3rd Street, Coleman. So we've moved around a lot in the since '93, but it's always been one location for the game center, and then at different times combined and not combined with the warehouse. So it's always been something we've thought about, though, like having a second location, how would that be? And I think that everybody here, if you've got multiple locations, good on you, but one retail store is a lot to handle, and so when I look at other retailers like Good Games, can you imagine having that many stores and having to manage that many stores? And we're working very closely with Good Games. Obviously, we had an announcement with our partnership and stuff, but I don't know how those guys do it, because it feels like trying to get your arms around one store is enough, right? And trying to do that with so many more is huge. So let me go back in here and see what, if any, questions we missed here. Are there plans for a marketplace in Europe? The ChannelFireball marketplace in Europe?
We don't have a plan for a marketplace in Europe. I mean, we are open and excited to integrate Binder POS into any and all marketplaces, out there in any region, in the US and Europe and, Japan, anywhere. We want to connect your inventory to as many marketplaces as possible, regardless if it's our marketplace or somebody else's marketplace. So we are eagerly working on getting more integrations for your inventory into as many different regions as possible. So, but yeah, we don't have plans. I mean, Magic Card Market in Europe has a great. I think they're servicing the community in a really great way. We've worked with them a bit, and just experienced from the the player and customer perspective when we were running events in Europe. I think they're satisfying the demand over there in a really great way. That's also great for the stores and great for the players. So that's not an area we're targeting right now, but certainly looking to integrate with marketplaces in all regions.
And can we list? This is another one we get a lot. Can we list on the ChannelFireball marketplace and others?
Absolutely, and you should. I mean, put your products up for sale as many places as you can. Yeah, I mean, we're the way that we're building out Binder POS, and we're right now and just testing out. We're in the beta of the eBay integration. I don't know how many stores we have right now. A small number of stores, but we're looking to expand that out. As soon as we just need to work out some things with eBay and expanding how many stores we can integrate at a time. So there's no slowdown, and we just want to take that process slowly. But it's like, our goal is to basically have your inventory on your Binder POS account and be able to sync to as many different marketplaces as possible. eBay, ChannelFireball Marketplace, and we are actively looking to add more and more to that list. So as soon as we do, we will let you know. But yeah, we want to make it as easy for you to sell on as many marketplaces as possible and buy on as many different places as possible. So that's certainly our goal.
And I think that's where you want to be as a retailer, right? We all want to be in as many places. We want to have our wares for sale and in as many spots, and we want to be able to buy cards and buy inventory from as many spots as possible. That's the other kind of diversification. There's product diversification, and then there's that ability you want to sell to the world, which obviously the internet has enabled for all of us. We're up against it here. Jon, do you have any final thoughts on everything we've gone over here in this first hour of LGS C2?
I mean, I'm always, excited when we have an event like this that we can, talk with the retailers out there. We're talking to a lot of retailers, one-on-one and maybe a couple at a time, but being able to have a group of retailers here at once and answering questions like this is great. I'd say, never hesitate to reach out to us if you have questions. I mean, either your account manager or, a lot of us are accessible. If you have questions about, Binder POS, the marketplace, ChannelFireball, what we're doing, like we always want to hear your questions. We want to hear your feedback. We are our whole culture is about growing and improving. We want to build the marketplace. We want to build the point of sale system that's best for the local game store. So hearing the feedback from you is exactly how we're going to get there. We have a certain amount of experience in the industry, but there's no way that our experience matches, the 5,000-6,000 stores that are out there in the world. And we want to hear what you want and what's important to you. So never hesitate to give feedback. I think just in general, navigating, your businesses here, moving forward, stay open-minded, look for opportunities, recognize the situation as it is. Like, it's been a crazy year, the last 12 months, right? And and we're going to be moving into hopefully more normalcy, excuse me, moving forward. Be accepting of it, try to navigate the situation moving forward with an open mind, and try things out that you maybe didn't try before, and ultimately learn from like the mistakes you're making or from the successes you're having, and do more of that. So that's
I think
all I got.
yeah, that's a huge key. One of the biggest takeaways, because obviously Saso and I were talking about this last night. One of the biggest takeaways I have from everything we've gone through in the last 12 months is, what did we learn? And you touched on this with, don't be the victim, be the hero. And for me, it's asking, what did I learn? And what you just inserted is great. What did I focused on what did I learn from these speed bumps? But I think one of the other great things is, what did I learn from this success? Because that's how we replicate it. That's how we do it. So I should have touched on it earlier, but that's so important. Everything that's happened to us in this last year, and John's right. When he opened, he said, congratulations, if you've made it through. This has been a harrowing year, right? This has been, got to be, as you said, John, we've learned 10 or 15 years worth of things in this last year because we've had to. All of us as retailers, as vendors in this e-commerce space, as members of this community, in this gaming community, this retail community, our local communities in this world we're in, we've had to learn so many things. For me, I think one of the biggest tragedies we'd face right now is if we didn't take those learnings with us as things, shift back into the world we used to be. We've become more efficient. We've found things within ourselves, how we can work harder. We found things within our teams, how they've worked, how they've adjusted. And all of that has helped contribute to where we are, to making it through all this, those efficiencies, those lessons, the things that we did to get through this pandemic. Those are lessons we need to, I think, really hold on to, because all that's going to do is, if we keep those practices in place, that's going to make us more profitable in the future. We made it through winter. That's great. Hopefully winter is over. But as we get into spring and as we get into summer, if we keep that winter mentality, we're going to reap so much more. And I think that's one of the huge things I'm always thinking as we're approaching opportunities, as we're approaching new things, is, what did we learn when we had to get lean, when we had to get efficient, when things were really, really scary and unpredictable? How did we face that? Now, how do I take that perspective? How do I take those lessons, and how do I point that in the direction of hopefully a more stable future as we grow into it? Because I think that's what we need to really take out of all this, so that we can be more profitable. We can find more success, because we found it in the hard times. And if we hold on to that chestnut in the good times, we're just going to explode. And so that's one of my key takeaways, something that, your talk really hits me with. We embrace the unpredictability. We don't want to be an object. We want to be the subject. We want to be the hero, not the victim. How do we do that? We learn lessons. And what do we do with those lessons? Because all that was innovation, was getting efficient, what do we do with those lessons? We carry them with us. And then we're so much more prepared. God forbid this happen again. So those are the big things for me. And I think the big things for all of us at CFB, a lot of things we focus on. I know some questions, some questions have popped up. If you have questions about the marketplace, just because we're short on time, if you have questions about the marketplace, you can always reach out to marketplace@channelfireball.com. Marketplace questions there. If you have Binder POS questions, info@binderpos.com. Don't worry if you get them confused. We talk on a daily basis, so we will get it to the right person. I apologize if we didn't get to your question. Thank you so much. And we're always available. Drop a line, marketplace@channelfireball.com, or there's a great marketplace Facebook group, the Channel Fireball Marketplace Facebook group. If you post in there, you get answers. I mean, I think very comfortably within 24 hours, even on weekends. I think we're all looking at it all the time. So questions about the marketplace, you can do that. And don't hesitate to reach out. What John said is so true. We thrive on feedback, and every question we get, every issue that's raised is feedback. The questions that we get, even if we know the answers right away, like, hey, is there a marketplace in Europe, or can we sell on different platforms, different things that maybe we feel we've communicated. If that's still a question that's out there, we know, again, that persona, and Dennis is going to get to that. We know our customers and our peers are still asking that question. We haven't messaged it enough. So every question you ask us is feedback we get to act on. So thank you for that. And this is it. We're gonna sign off with Channel Fireball President and CEO Jon Saso. I guess I should say CFB Group President and Channel Fireball. No, it doesn't roll, John. I can't do it. We got to stick to the original. I tried. Everybody saw me try.
All right.
Thanks, John, for calling in early on a Saturday morning. Always appreciate your time. We're gonna go down for a bit, and then I'm gonna come back and have our very own marketing director, Dennis Stranyak. Before we jump off, I do just want to, for everyone in there, Dennis has been responsible for the highest revenue months in the history of this company, in the history of Channel Fireball. And I say this, I'm the chief marketing officer, but he is the brains behind all the marketing. He has been a tremendous asset.